I want to demonstrate to you once again in a concrete way how disturbing, disgusting, corrupt, and woefully reprehensible and irreparable the entire system is. And I'm talking about from law enforcement to the judicial system, the court system. This right here is Matthew Mall, Lieutenant Matthew Mall from the DC Metro Police Department. This is Chris Hansen, who used to be a part of a show called To Catch a Predator. Now he's with True Blue Streaming Network, where he does basically the same thing. They have these covert operatives who act as young people trying to lure a bunch of sickos into some situation where the sicko thinks that they're going to have their way with a little kid. Well, Detective and Lieutenant Matthew Mall from the DC Metro Police Department wanted to have his way with the little kid. So this deputy from the Harford County Sheriff's Department in Maryland masqueraded as a 15-year-old boy named Nate. Well, Lieutenant Matthew Mall initiated and maintained a 31-day online relationship with Nate in an effort to groom the young kid into doing some sick and disgusting SA with him. And because they put crazy copyright restrictions on these videos, I can't play any of this, but I want to read some of the transcript, and you got to stay tuned because this Matthew Mall guy, this former Lieutenant Matthew Mall, had a hearing, and I want to let you know the outcome of that. It is shocking. It shouldn't shock us because we see this qualified immunity that cops have, and we watch them walk away literally with murder many times. But this case is a little bit different because this guy was in a position for a long, long time. He's a 23-year veteran. In his position, in his location, he would escort dignitaries. One of the biggest ones that they mention in this video is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel. But he was also on Secret Service details and escorted the President of the United States. And lo and behold, with the release of the Epstein files and all this crazy crap going on that the current administration is doing nothing about, this guy ends up being a PDF file as well. Which makes me question, is there anybody in Washington's District of Criminals who isn't a PDF file? Some might maintain that the entire thing needs to be just burned to the ground and replaced with nothing. So because of the copyright restrictions, I can't play any of this video, but I do want to read some of the transcripts so we can get a background of what's going on, what Matthew Mall was involved in, and how he was trying to groom this 15-year-old boy, or what he thought was a 15-year-old boy. And then I'm going to show you what happened during the hearing. It will just absolutely cause your jaw to hit the desk. So this detective from Harford County Sheriff's Department, who portrayed himself as Nate, says there have been many in-depth conversations, almost relationship-like. He's well aware that I'm 15, well aware that I'm in high school. He has plenty of questions about, what I want to do in the future. He says that he himself is planning on moving to Italy once he retires. Told me that there are some good schools over there. So he's really setting him, what he believes, I think he's setting up for a future type of relationship. The Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Lieutenant is very clear that he's looking for underage prey. He posted older 46. He was at the time looking for younger in Maryland. The post continues saying older bear cub guy in Maryland looking for younger to get to know. Would love to find a long-term thing, but whatever really. Love Latino guys, but anyone is welcome. Chris Hansen asked this undercover deputy, how did he react when you told him you were only 15 years old? He didn't seem to have much of a problem with it. He said something to the effect of, he's an adult. He has a lot to lose. I'm just a child, so I won't get in any trouble. And at that point, it's pretty obvious that he's well aware of what he's doing. He's contemplating it. He works. He's mulling it around in his mind. And there was SA conversation before that, and then there was continued SA conversation after that. It was almost as if he was trying to get around a mental block. Chris Hansen says, so he's grooming, to which the deputy says, obviously. Promising all kinds of things, pretending to be concerned about the child's education, about his sporting activities, and then using the allure of international travel, taking the child perhaps to Italy. What kind of human being does that to a child? Pretty disgusting. And then he says this about people within his own ranks turning bad, like this lieutenant from the DC Police Department. He says, and the issue that a lot of us in my unit have talked about and struggled with to some extent is that this puts a real tarnish on this occupation, talking about the law enforcement occupation, when, like you mentioned, we're out there trying to catch these guys and he's turning around and one of our own is that guy. That's concerning. And then Chris Hansen says, but he's no longer one of your own. And this deputy says, absolutely not. No, he's made that very evident through these chats. And this is one that we need to weed out. And that's what we're doing. How graphic does he get? Now, I'm sure there are a lot of graphic things, but give me a sense so we understand. And then the deputy says, he likes talking about his fantasies. It helps him fall asleep. He explains that on various things. One of his fantasies that he talks about is where my persona would be laying on top of him, giving him, well, you see the rest of it. It's all just completely sick and disgusting. And he goes into more disgusting details. I will leave the link to Chris Hansen's video in the description below, but I want to get on to the court hearing that he just had last Wednesday. Says Matthew Mall, a 47-year-old lieutenant with the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington's District of Criminals and former chairman of the D.C. Police Union. The first openly gay person in that role was arrested in Harford County, Maryland, on or around May 2nd, 2026. He faces felony charges of solicitation of a minor for you-know-what and solicitation of CP or possession of child SA material in some descriptions. Now, let me just say this. There is no record of them having gotten a warrant to grab his phone or a laptop or his work computer or his personal computer. No mention of it at all. As a matter of fact, let me show you what happened. The arrest stemmed from a joint undercover operation by Harford County Sheriff's Office and Chris Hansen's investigative series Takedown. A detective sergeant posed online as a 15-year-old boy named Nate. Mall allegedly engaged in SE text conversations over about 31 days, sending really bad photos of himself and using S-charged language despite repeated mentions that Nate was 15. Mall allegedly arranged to meet. He did meet. They got it all on video. They were even following him with a drone or a helicopter. And they had on the street cruisers tailing this guy every mile of the way. Arranged to meet the minor after school at a sting house in Harford County. He arrived but did not enter the property. Officers took him into custody from his vehicle on the street. Hansen confronted him on camera, during which Mall repeatedly invoked his right to an attorney and refused to answer questions about the chats or his background. Which is true, because no matter what Chris Hansen said, no matter what questions he threw at him, this guy always came back with, like 30 times, came back with this.
Again, I'm not answering any questions so I can speak to an attorney.
That's all he would say, which is a smart move for anybody, whether you're law enforcement or not. The best thing to do is to consult your attorney and keep the front door shut. At the time, Mall was a 23-year veteran assigned to special operations, including oversight of dignitary motorcades like presidential security. MPD placed him on administrative leave, I'm sure it was paid, and revoked his police powers immediately after notification. I have a feeling he's going to get those back, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. The department called the allegations, quote, extremely disturbing and contrary to its values. Its internal affairs division planned a policy investigation once the criminal case concluded. This is exactly what MPD said. They said Lieutenant Matthew Mall has been placed on administrative leave and his police powers have been revoked. The allegations in this case are extremely disturbing and in direct contrast to the values of the Metropolitan Police Department. Now let's get to the ridiculous, disgusting, and disturbing court proceedings. Mall was held without bond. Good. A judge found probable cause and scheduled a preliminary hearing. That's fine. Around May 13th or 14th, reports anticipated this could lead to the case being paused, not prosecuted or dismissed, and then prosecutors dropped all charges. A Harford County clerk confirmed to WUSA 9 on or around May 13th or 14th, 2026, that the case was closed. No public detailed explanation was given for the dismissal. Maul did not enter the sting house and was arrested outside, which some online discussions speculated could relate to evidentiary or procedural issues common to the sting operations. The reason Chris Hansen said that they did that and that law enforcement made the choice to do that is because they knew that this guy was part of law enforcement and might be carrying, so they decided to stop him out in the street. Though this remains unconfirmed officially. Critics of Hansen-style stings have long raised concern about tactics potentially affecting prosecutions. And the turd cherry on top of this sewage sundae, Maul remains on administrative leave with MPD while the internal investigation continues. Don't worry, we'll get back with you. We'll let you know what happened. All body cams, all evidence will be released to the public. Don't hold your breath. Criminal charges in Maryland are resolved in his favor, dismissed, but departmental consequences could still follow depending on internal findings. This guy was the chairman of the police union. Nothing is going to happen to him. He'll probably be allowed to retire with a full pension. If that happens, you're talking about a deeper, darker, disgusting, disturbing illusion than you can possibly shake a stick at. There's some really, really bad stuff going on over there at MPD in Washington, D.C. So there's no question that this guy thought in his own mind that he was grooming and was planning to meet and have his way with a little kid. The only question is, how many times has he done this in the past? How many kids has he harmed in the wake of his disgusting life? How many times has he met up and had his way with little kids? And what was the outcome? Are their bodies buried in a forest somewhere? Are their body parts somewhere rotting in a field just waiting for a forensics expert to come along and identify them? It really is interesting to me how they chose to arrest this guy when pretty much on every other program, they let the person come into the house and put the noose tightly around their own necks. It's almost like they were giving this guy preferential treatment. They even let this guy keep his sunglasses on during Chris Hansen's intense interview. Can't even see the guy's eyes. And in the end, before they gently put him in the back seat of the patrol cruiser, they removed his cuffs from behind and put him on in the front. I haven't seen anybody else treated like that either. Like it or not, this is the face of DC Metro. This is the top of the heap. This guy was a lieutenant. He was one of the heads of the police union in DC. He escorted the president and prime ministers and rubbed elbows with Secret Service. And the Maryland court said, case dismissed. You were grooming a 15-year-old. No big deal. Go ahead and collect your pension. Maybe even give him his gun back and let him go back to work. I would not be surprised. I want to hear what you have to say about this. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. That's the only way the algorithm can switch to our favor so we can get more of these videos out there. You know, darkness has to be exposed. If you like these commentary videos and you want to see more of them, you can help support this channel for free by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification icon. Make sure you're still subscribed because I have a lot of people saying that they used to be subscribed and then they took a look and they're not subscribed anymore. They had to resubscribe. Also, take a look at this video that's coming up on the screen right here. Check it out. Check out some more of my videos that you haven't seen yet. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. Let's stop securing our own oppression and let's start today. I'll see you in the next video.